Good morning, everyone. Today is June the 11th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. My name is James Mason, and Todd Derby will not be with me today. So better not hear no complaints in the comments, since y'all tend to like him a lot. But how's everyone doing this morning? Let me know in the comments really quick. Let me know what you have eyes on here pre-market, and let's go ahead and get into it. So there's one that I want to show you this morning, and it is ticker GENE. So here we are on this daily chart right here, and beautiful setup going sideways. Now, they just released news this morning that they have been granted a patent, and I haven't fully dug into the research on it, but nonetheless, when you receive a patent, especially when you're a healthcare company, that is huge news. And then more so when you have such a low share structure. So let me update you really quick on this share structure. So last update for share short, 1.2 million shares, 10% of the float being short, and we only have 15 million shares outstanding with a float of 11.8 million. So this thing is super low float, and in my opinion, we probably should not sleep on this bad boy. So let's take a quick peek at the 5-minute chart right here, so we can see that pretty significant spike up. So what we want to see next is, and we'll just do this, round it up. Want to wait and see whenever this thing actually breaks above the high here of 540. And this is what it looks like here on the daily chart. So if I zoom out, you can see its potential on the daily chart. If we wait for it to break above 540, with this thing being a super low float, you see this thing start making some moves up. I would have a hard time seeing it only testing right here around 7. I would actually think that would go up a lot more. So really, if I was going to throw a target price range on this, it would be between 7 on the low end, in my opinion, with a overall target around 1090. And that is what I would be looking for in ticker GENE. So good morning, everyone. Johnny Walker, thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, hold on a second. Where is Hedgie Todd at? He's at a hedge fund meeting. What else? Duh. And he's talking about what he can do to short AMC down. That's the big plan here. All right. So, yeah, this is ticker GENE, and that's what I see for it. I love its share structure. And I do think that this thing could give us some pretty significant potential here in the future once we break above that 540 range. So this is definitely something to keep eyes on right here. So we have a text message that came in for our mail call segment, and the question is, I'll just condense it. It's talking about ticker FREQ, and essentially what this member had done, they sold a cover call right up here, and then it gapped down from around $32 down here to the lower teens, and just been chopping around, going sideways ever since. And they're wanting to know, basically my opinion on it, if they could get back to around $12 to $13 a share just to break even. And let's take a look. I do feel that we could test that $12 to $13 range. And if that is your break even point, if I was in that situation, I'd definitely bail out of that thing. So we're still fairly low here on the RSI, but I mean, we just came off of a gap down, a significant gap down of all things, and just been going sideways for a little bit. We will at some point start to have a little bullish movement up. That doesn't mean that it's going to recover, but I do feel like this thing could get around that $12 to $13 range. And if that's all it takes for you to break even, I'd pop smoke and get out of that bad boy then. And that's just me. That's just what I would do if I was caught up in it. And so, yeah. As for when, it's really hard to say when, but I mean, we have been going sideways for a significant amount of time. And just from looking at the chart, we kind of say that it's probably about near time this thing does test that $12 to $13 range. So as for like this being an alert for anyone else, this would be a no-go. But for the person who had sent this question in on ticker FREQ, I think you'll be in a position where you could at least break even. That's what I would like to think, that at least, just looking at the chart overall. So we have another question that came in, and it is for ticker GTEH. The question was, this is a OTC stock, and you guys already know my opinions on OTC stocks. The question was, is it a pump and dump? It has a real product, and can I help them out? Yes. OTC stocks are 98% of them are scams. This thing has, I mean, heck, its float alone is 9.33 billion. This thing isn't even worth waking up to trade for. Like, I mean, it's just a typical, what they call a fat pig in the OTC world. Way too many shares out in the market. And for this thing to move, man, it just takes so much to get this thing to move just slightly. So what a lot of these people do, they'll get in back here and they'll keep pumping it to all their followers. Everybody buys it because it's literally sub penny. You know, it's so cheap, you can only win. That's how they kind of, present this to everyone. And then they get it to spike up off of whatever false news that they keep pushing out. And a lot of these OTC CEOs actually are involved in this. And that is actually no joke at all. If you knew mine and Johnny's like past, where we would infiltrate these OTC groups to expose them, and if you've actually seen some of our work in the past, man, we've exposed CEOs on every level. CEOs will literally have these groups, and these groups are organized kind of like an onion. You have a group, and then you have a subgroup, and then a subgroup of that subgroup. And I mean, it's just this funnel that if you keep breaking through, I guess we'll just say these layers, you can eventually get to the bottom. And at the bottom, where it's actually controlled at, those people are the ones who are significantly benefiting from it because they're getting paid out by the CEOs and the companies with shares to pump it. Is it illegal? Absolutely. Do they get caught? Nope. That's why they do it. And it's good money for them. Very good money for them. But yeah, these things are pump and dumps. What tends to happen is you have two pushes in a pump and dump. And this is looking, now I don't know anything that this company is doing. And every OTC company tries to say that they have a real product. But if they had a real product, they probably wouldn't be an OTC company. So we see this first push, and it's kind of looking like we're about ready to go into that second push. The second push is usually not even nowhere near close to that first one. So if this thing does push up, I'd say we're probably going to get around to these ranges between this 0.006 to 0.01, we'll just say. So yeah, these things are pump and dumps. Now, can you make money on pump and dump? Absolutely. But you have to be ahead of the spike before it even happens. And it's, if you don't have a following to like push this crap onto, it's so hard. It is so hard. Like, it's not even, this is why I don't even bother playing OTC companies. It's just, it's gambling. It's not worth it. So let's jump into the comments, see what we have going on. Let me run through these comments really quick. Yes, Robert, NOVN is running this morning on some great news. Let's see. Dan, exactly. What are we going to talk about if we can't pick on Todd? That is literally the show. So now I just got to sit here and talk about charts and stuff like that. Boring. William, I was good until that you heard that Todd wasn't here. Let's see. Yes, GBS was a solid play. All right, here's a question. How do I feel about CCXI? Let's take a look at it. Man, so CCXI actually has the same setup going on with it that FREQ has going on, with that significant gap down, and then it's going to just go sideways for a little while. I'm still going to be bearish on this. This thing is making a slight push up, and then it's gonna go back down. So trying to chase it to the long side, you can get lucky, but you're gonna have to time it right. That's really the only thing you can do with a ticker like CCXI and a gap down like that. And unlike how FREQ is, CCXI has not been trending sideways after it's gap down for too long. So I am still bearish on that. All right, here's a good question. Ticker SRNE has news this morning. Is there a play? So let's take a look at it. Ticker SRNE. All right, last update for short interest. 55.98 million shares being short, 22.35% of the float. Days of cover 3.4. Shares outstanding 285.6 million shares. The float 250.5 million. And I'm just looking at the news really quick. So off the top, I see that there's some agreement between the Mayo Clinic and FDA clearance. So this is definitely something worth looking into. I do hate that share structure, though. It's a little too high for me. But nonetheless, it is solid news, we can make decent money here. So let me just look at this chart really quick. All right, so we're still a little ways off from this breakout point, but the breakout point from how I interpret the charts would be breaking above 1066, and that is where I see the play at. If I zoom out right here on the chart, you can see that yellow line going through, and you can see what happens to it when it breaks above 1066, and even when it breaks below it. So 1066 is the number that I would personally be looking for to make a play with really honestly, my overall target would just be right around $14. How I trade, I wouldn't expect this to go up above $14, and that's where I look to get out at. So if I was going to jump into this thing, I'd look for that break above 1066 with the overall target of 1426, and I just move my stop loss up as I was profitable. And that is ticker SRNE. All right, we have another question. William, thank you for the donation, sir. Appreciate it. What do I think about ticker HSDT? Let's look at HSDT first. Last update for short interest, 146,000 shares being short. For whatever reason, I can't pull up any data on the outstanding shares. And looking at the top of their news, see a couple filings and then just a couple fluff articles. So the news is not looking strong. I hate that I can't. Let me look at another source really quick. See if I can't find those outstanding shares for it. All right, so according to marketwatch.com, the shares outstanding would be 2.3 million shares. If that is the case, that is a super low float. That would be interesting if that was accurate. And it probably is. MarketWatch has solid data. So let's just say it is at 2.3 million shares for outstanding. What I would look for here, let me just try this really quick. What I look for here is honestly the break above Okay, so how I see this one will actually be challenging to play. And the reason why I say so is because how strong of a candle it had made yesterday. And look at this RSI, how it literally spikes up really hard. My breakout point would actually be about 1722, which is that next resistance. But this thing potentially could come up here, touch it, and get rejected. So when something moves up too quickly and it goes up in triggers, that does suck because you'll literally make an entry at the top and then it pulls back to consolidate, and then really you should have just waited because that movement was just too great too soon, and that's why it got rejected. And then it's usually that second go around. So we need to see if it's actually going to move up to the 1722 quickly. If it does, I do expect it to get rejected around that range, pull back here, potentially back down into this $14 to $16 range, the lower $16 range, and then that second run breaking above 1722. If we break above 1722 on that second run, if this is how it actually happens, then I could see this thing moving up probably pretty easily to about 2258. We'll just run it up to 2260. And if we got like, literally, if that share structure is correct at 2.3 million shares, you can literally get like any kind of news on something so low float like that, and it will freaking quadruple in price. Like, it will do stuff like this back here where it's hitting highs of like $34. So like if we got like any, this is just a company that you have to do some research on, but like with this, if this share structure is truly this low at 2.3 million, this thing could really pop off and run hard on the slightest bit of news. And if they get any kind of news, then I would expect it to easily test the higher 20s, lower 30s overall. So that is what I see for ticker HSDT. And let's take a look at VRPX. So the only thing I don't like about VRPX right now is I don't have that much data overall on this daily chart. You can see that my candlesticks only go back to February the 17th. So that kind of sucks. It makes it harder to really see a setup here. But last update, short interest. I'm not pulling in that data right now. No, well, not that I'm not willing to, but not able to for this ticker. For the outstanding shares on this one, 4.9. It's almost at 5 million shares. So another super low float, or another super low share structure with a float of 2 million shares. And this is another bio company. So looking at the top of their news, it does look like they have some things in the pipeline here. And this is just one of those plays that we are waiting for, honestly, just significant news. So if we can find the catalyst and figure out the catalyst and what we need to look for here, after doing more research, then we can start trying to formulate where this is going to end up. Now, since we don't have that much data overall, we only have to about the highs of 825, and it's currently at 458. With this being such a low share structure, it's almost in the same boat as, HSDT that we were just talking about. And the slightest bit of news will really make this thing rocket up. If we actually get a catalyst to drop on VRPX, it will blow, in my opinion, it will blow above this 825 with ease. So that's going to be the critical point in this entire play on VRPX, is just figuring out what the catalyst is going to be and positioning ourselves in this before they release that news. So this one does have potential. It is a little harder, though, to actually get an idea because we don't have that much data. But I mean, when you only have 5 million shares on the market, and if you drop something solid, you don't need data. This thing will run like crazy. So let me just run through the comments again. So this question is, what if no catalyst for POAI at the Biodigital Conference? I don't expect a catalyst to come out at the conference. That's not usually how this even works. So these conferences, really the conferences are kind of meaningless. Everybody and their mom has a conference for something, and that news is literally just to help keep the PPS value up, which I am like, everybody knows I'm hardcore bullish on POAI, hardcore. And you already know my target price range for it. But they usually push out these conferences or these news articles on these conferences just to help keep it fresh in everybody's mind, really. And it does help keep the PPS value up. But the conference itself, I'm not banking on anything significant coming out of the conference. It would be cool if it did, but a lot of people do get stuck on hoping that they're going to release a catalyst, whether it's a partnership or some kind of data for whatever trial that they're running. And that's usually just not how it works. So as for the conference, the conference is honestly insignificant for me. And that is for ticker POAI. So here's a question. This is one that I am still overall bullish on. I mean, I'm not hardcore bullish on, but I'm still bullish on it. It's ticker SNMP. And they are on the struggle bus again. So SRNP, we do need to get this thing back above 89 cents. We are to a point where we are consolidating, so that's good right here. But if we can get this thing back above 89, 90 cents right here, we should be okay and start trending up to around 134, 135 again. And it will be nice if they drop another catalyst right here. But you can see where I drew these angles before. If it's going to actually follow this whole wedge play, it's going to be a while. I mean, because we're already like literally going into 2022 right in here. Hopefully it doesn't stick to the wedge play. Hopefully they have some catalysts in the pipelines to push something out, but they're going to need to get back above $1 regardless to stay compliant. Which they're not in jeopardy of getting delisted. They may receive a notice to delist, but usually when they get the notice to delist, they usually have 180 days to actually get back above whatever requirements that they need to, and then they should be good, technically. So I am still overall bullish on SNMP. It's just they need to pull their heads out of their backsides and make something happen. So let me run through the comments really quick. We looked at ticker APRE in the past, and you said it could be a future alert. It's curling up off of lows. Was wondering what levels you were looking at. So Dan, thank you for the tip, I guess. Oh, I don't even know what they would call that on YouTube. Let's see, ticker APRE. Let me look at the share structure really quick for this one. Oh man, we're about 8 minutes from the bell. All right, so last update for short interest, 1.5 million shares being short, 10.5% of the float, and 1 day to cover. Shares outstanding, 21.2 million shares. The float, 14.2. So we're sitting on low float there. I do like this is a bio company. And so bio company with a low float, that is what I like to see. So this first line of resistance is going to happen around 623. If we can break above 623, probably see a quick spike up to that $7 range. At that point, I would see it kind of cooling down somewhere in here, pulling back, and then probably that next run up, breaking above that 623, is when we'll probably start to push through and to test this $8 range, mid $8 range. And if they actually drop a catalyst, we'll see this thing gap up like significantly. So that's the main thing. That this is really just a catalyst play. That's what I'm saying here. We'd have to dig in, find the catalyst, with this being a low float bio company, find that catalyst and honestly just wait it out. But just from a technical standpoint, that's just what I see. If this thing starts pushing up on its own, which it could, but at the same time, with these companies and these plays, you can make money as it just trends naturally, but they truly don't trend that much naturally. These plays are 100% catalyst plays. Now, if this thing drops like a significant catalyst, we have all the potential in the world. If they drop a legitimate catalyst, I kind of would expect this thing to honestly break above 856 with ease and have an overall target of around 1486. Just going off of the lows back here when it released. So that is ticker APRE. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on that one. We are 5 minutes out from the bell. So it is Friday. You guys know how Fridays are. Remember, trade safe. If you're in profits, move the stop losses up. It is okay to take profits. I promise you, it is okay to take profits. And what if it goes higher? Who cares? Who cares if it goes higher and you took profits already? What if it doesn't go higher? That's the thing. And there's a lot of times, most of the time, it actually doesn't go higher. And what if it doesn't go higher and you didn't take profits? You now took a profitable trade and turned it to a losing trade. That sucks. Don't start your weekend off bad. So appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will see y'all in the next one.